And we're live.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 TSM channel. My name is Alan Cavagnara. I'm alongside Nick and we are here for the fourth round of the Pinnacle tier, the Russian Grand Prix. It has been a while since the last race. Last week we were at the Bahrain Grand Prix, I believe, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's correct, Alan.
Yep, just checking. And yeah, for me it's felt a long time. I don't know why, even though the week flew by, but we are here for qualifying. It still looks to be that we are still doing short qualifying. So I suppose the glitches are still there, if I'm correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Alan. We weren't able to confirm from Codemasters, even with the new update, that they fixed it. So we're stuck with short qualifying for the meantime, but hopefully we can get full quali sorted and we can get back to some longer qualifying sessions. But I'm sure the drivers won't disappoint today.
Yes, we do have almost a full grid. We have 19 drivers today, excluding Flair. He is out with friends on a, I wouldn't say last minute, it was planned a long time ago, so that is why. So it looks to be Beastaz will be lonely again in his Williams. If I'm correct, he is out on track also. But right now, it looks to be a lot of people going out already. And if I turn on the detail for the currently fit, it looks like every driver but D90 has the super soft or ultra soft tire. Now, something I do know from this track, it's an easy one-stop. Even last game was an even easy one-stop. So either drivers should be going the Ultra Softs to go to the Super Softs, or from the Super Softs to go to the Ultra Softs. But we do have to keep in mind, you see the clouds in the sky, so it can be a huge either advantage or disadvantage for these drivers if rain does fall on the circuit.
Yeah, definitely, Alan. This is a track where we can see some thunderstorms, so it'll be interesting to see if we do get any rain throughout the session. But as you said, 19 drivers out of 20, so a really good turnout for today's race. We spoke to Beastaz earlier. I don't know if you caught up with it, Alan, in the exclusive interview that we did. And yeah, he was saying he's basically carrying the team for what he can do at the moment. And he's doing everything he can. He's taken 3 wins out of 3 for Williams. And he's leading the championship. But Mercedes are definitely looking the most threatening for that constructors title. A lot of drivers out on track actually. We've only got Sean, Dog and Chris and Craig who are staying in the pits. Of course we know Sean from the previous qualifying sessions this season. He likes to just sit in his garage and just wait and only do one run. So Beastaz, surely Alan's going to be the one who's going to be going for his 3rd consecutive pole position here today.
Definitely going to be very interesting as Williams, like we said, or Beastaz will be going for a 3rd position, or Williams for their 4th, considering that Flair got the pole in the 1st round. So definitely, like we said, Beastaz is still the one carrying the team. There's a spin in one of the sector number 2, taking onboard view from Force India. That is Matt FNG, lost a right front tire, could have lost a back end coming off the corner there, and could have spun it towards the right side and lost his tire. That could have been the case. We don't know that, but we have 8 minutes remaining in session, and nobody has set a time yet today, so these times are about to get rolling in any second now. But I go down through the grid, and something that just does surprise me is the amount of people on the Ultra Softs, because most likely, when you're able to go from the Super Softs, but never mind, Tony goes so fast as that, but like I was saying, if you do start on the Super Softs, it's not a huge disadvantage because you do get, let's say, you get to pit a couple laps later than everyone else. So maybe you get to get in some clean air, or clear air, I mean, during the race, and you can set some good laps. But it looks like everyone going for fastest laps now. T.S. Odom's the one at 34.5. Jordan was 2nd, 3rd was Enact. Also, Clifford came in time as 5th place at 137.1. But yeah, I'm surprised only one driver is on the Super Soft tires as MLA goes to the fastest time.
Yeah, we did see earlier in the podium tier that a lot of drivers struggled to get a clean lap in. Of course, we run strict corner cutting rules at Russia for obvious reasons, and it's one of those tracks that definitely the results change after penalties are taken account in the race, of course. But MLA getting that early lap in, Beastaz has come back into the pits, so he doesn't fancy setting a time on the tires that he's on now. But yeah, we're riding on board with D90, and he is on those super soft tires, so it'll be interesting to see. He's up in 6th position, 1.4 seconds off the provisional pole position. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do, or if he in fact changes to what is pretty much a full house on those Ultrasofts.
Yes, definitely talk about tires and everyone having to make up their mind. I mean, a lot of drivers just use the Ultrasofts, really a lot of drivers will be at the same exact time. Again, another reason why to choose the Super Softs, but again, the pits could be very, very clogged. Especially, I mean, that's another advantage on going to the Super Softs, because really when you have the Ultrasofts, it's really a pit window that you have to pit with them to have the most advantage over everyone. I mean, yes, these Ultrasofts can basically go the entire race, but you do have to keep in mind that one, everyone has to make a pit stop, and two, if you pit too early, that's not going to work for you. Because then they're just going to, I wouldn't say lap you, not lap you, but they're just going to fly by you down the street when you exit the pit, or when they're exiting the pits, you're not even going to be close to them. Or if you pit too late, definitely they'll have the advantage and pass you. So really, there's a time that people have to pit, and that's usually midway through the race. But with the Super Soft tires, you can maybe go a couple laps after, maybe around 6 laps after at most, and that'll definitely give you an advantage, not only for clear air, but also give you a chance to do the overcut, which doesn't necessarily work off from that well compared to the undercut. But again, it's always something to try if you have nothing to lose. So we go through the grid, and it looks like MLA is still on the fastest time. If we do to the leader, that is only a 2-10 gap between him and Codems, but we go down, it looks to be only the top 5 are within 1 second of MLA. And I thought the time to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think the drivers are just trying to get some banker laps in. It looked like Chris struggled to get a clean lap in. I saw that Odems as well did 2 flying laps on his set of Ultrasofts to get that time, because his first run wasn't the best. So I think these lap times are, a lot of drivers are just getting some bankers in, because when you stop pushing the car and pushing the limits of this track, it's ever so easy to get one of the slightest cuts. I'm just riding on board with Craig, who is in his 2nd race for F1 TS Hub, and he's waited for everyone to come out and do their lap, and he's done what we see sometimes the Force Indias do in real life, and just go out in the middle of the session when it's a little bit quieter on track, maybe a little bit less pressure, and just pump in 1 or maybe 2 laps and spend the rest of the session in the garage. And he goes up to 8th position, 1.5 off pole position. But yeah, there seems to be quite a large delta from what we've been used to in the previous few sessions.
Yes, we are down to our final 4 minutes in qualifying. Looks to be some people are setting some times, but it seems to be, again, these times are way off from MLA and Odems, but a lot of people pitting. They'll either go up for one final run, or they will stand in the pits to end out this qualifying session. So again, I'm going to ride on board the McLaren Honda of Dog. He is in 10th place, but something I do notice, again, look at the sky, the clouds are forming up. We did keep on mentioning that, and again, I'm not sure if it'll be an impact in the race, not exactly sure. It'll definitely spice things up as we come to the 4th round of the season. Definitely, we could see a first-time winner as well if something does happen in the race, knowing that we only have 1 winner this season. Beast has 75 points in the bag, winning all 3 races. So as he enters the 4th round, he's trying to go back to back to back to back the Russian Grand Prix. So definitely he has a lot on his shoulders today, as he does have a good advantage over the rest of the field as we come down to the final 3 minutes of qualifying. But yeah, like I was mentioning, I'm not sure if it'll rain, but if it does, it could definitely change up the grid order at the end of this thing.
Alan, I'm going to have to get you to keep saying that back to back to back to back as long as BSAS wins, and see how long you're going to be able to say that and not miss one out or do one too many. But yeah, Dog just crosses a line in his McLaren. I knew you were riding on board with him, and he will be finished for this session as we see a Ferrari overtake a Mercedes on the exit of the pits. So Dog is lean on fuel. That is his session done. He won't be able to get back to the pits, and we're going to see a lot of these drivers. BSAS hasn't come out the pits yet. We're going to see a lot of these drivers come out and 1 flying lap, max fuel, everything on the line, and they're going to try and dance their cars around this track. It's only got 1:55 left, and BSAS is still showing in the pits for me, Alan. I don't know what he is on your screen, but this is going to be close. as Craig retires from the session. Not sure if he's had an incident or if he's just... No, he's coming to the pits and he's retired. So well done to him for following the protocol. Beasthouse is still showing in the pits, Alan. He hasn't set a lap time. What do you think's the situation there? He's coming out now.
Not necessarily sure. Yeah, he is out now. Chris is out right now, looking at a couple other drivers like Dan. Beasthouse finally is going to be out on the track with a minute remaining. I'm not sure if Beasthouse is going to get his time in unless if he cuts every single corner. If I were Beasthouse, because he does not have a time on the board, and I'm not sure if he just exited the pits because he says he's on an outlap. So again, he's going to be very, very pressured for time. I look back with Sean. Sean is also, I think he's on the lap because he doesn't say he's on an outlap. But looking through the rest of the grid, it's going to be very, very close to call if Beasthouse does or will be able to put in the time. So with less than a minute remaining, we're almost down to 30 seconds. I'll be riding on board with Beasthouse. I don't think he'll be able to put in a time. I mean, he's not cutting any corner. We do have 40 seconds left, and he is entering the final sector of this circuit, so there is a possibility. But looks to be MLA holding on to pole position by 2/10. So he's going to enter the last couple bits of this circuit, heading a little bit downhill. I consider it a downhill section, going through the bigger chicane and headed back uphill. We have 19 seconds remaining. The time will be on Beasthouse if he can get back just in time. Looks like Sean was able to put a time for second. That is only 400ths off. 10 final seconds. If Beasthouse can get there, it's going to be a close one. For the final corner,
close.
He's going to cross the line with 1 second remaining. I've never seen anything more impressive. Man, he got a time in barely. So,
timing that to perfection, Alan. Wow.
Whew. That was scary to watch. My heart was beating right there, but it looks like Cobbler's has retired. The left front is gone from his car. It's
so is Compact.
So is Compact and Hammer Time. I did spectate him just a second ago. Looks like the Force Indy has pulled off to the side in turn number 1 or 2 or 1.5. I don't know. I consider that first corner or the little kink. But looks like qualifying is over and MLA is still hanging on to that pole position. So looks to be he is a really, really lucky man. So he better not mess up this opportunity as he is in the second sector now. I'm looking for the rest of the grid. I think everyone has stayed where they are. Looks like D90 on those Super Softs. He's able to get 11th place, so he's going to be the only one on those red wall tires starting this Grand Prix. But then again, a lot of drivers could change their tires during this thing, or even before if they're outside the top 10, so that is a possibility. Looks like Odoms will about to be able to finish his run, but we're still looking at Beasthouse. It looks like Odoms will set the fastest time, 2/10 above MLA. So just a minute remaining left to finish everyone's lap, and we're looking at Beasthouse now, the man to finish this thing out. Sean is through the final couples of corners. Beasthouse will cross the line, and he will come in clutch and grabs pole position by 3/10. What a way to do it. I mean, cross the line with a second, and then next lap sets the fastest time when there was no lap on the board. I mean, that's not even impressive enough. I mean, fantastic stuff from Beasthouse.
Alan, I have to say, that is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen on any Formula 1 game. A driver that can come out and just one lap, and their outlap. Remember, Alan, if you cut a corner on this game, on your outlap, it can sometimes invalidate this and your next lap. So he had to drive and push his car to limit on his outlap. He goes with one shot and delivers. Another shout out to Odems. He's jumped onto the front row alongside Beasthouse over the 2 Mercedes, so he left that very late. And Sam jumped up to 5th position in his Force India, so that's a good qualifying position for him. James and Chris finally got some good laps in, Chris in particular on that one. Then you've got the 2 Saubers and the Renault of Compact who crashed out of the session. We saw 3 or 4 drivers within those few 10 seconds all either hit the wall or have some sort of contact with either the left or the right side, which was just shows you how much they were pushing to the limit. But my goodness, Alan, Beasthouse a 33.0. What a lap, and what an enormous amount of pressure he put himself under there.
I mean, with Beasthouse, he does have a comfortable lead in the championship, so I definitely would have done that if he didn't get a time, and it'd be fun to do last the first challenge, but again, Beast he really hasn't had a challenge this season, so might as well give yourself one in qualifying. He does it, and he is a man on pole position. Will go down through the grid order. First is Beast going down to the bottom of the first row is Odom. Starting the second row is MLA and Sean. The third row will consist of Sam and James. The fourth row will be Chris and Dan. And going through down the fifth row will be Hammer Time and Compact. Going through the rest of the grid, 11th Dog, 12th and Neck, 13th United, 14th George, 15th Craig, 16th Cobbler, 17th Tony, 18th Clifford, 19th is Max. We barely finished that one out. So again, went through the rest of the grid. We'll do that during formation lap as well for the row starting. So again, any race predictions you have, they're looking to be, it is still cloudy. So knowing that, do you think it would be able to rain, and do you think someone could challenge Beastaz today?
I think there could be a little bit of rain in the air, but the track looks very greasy. It did in the podium race, but we didn't see any rain. But my goodness, I'm still mesmerized by what Beastaz just did in front of our eyes then. With 1 second to spare, and then he goes and just pulls out a lap, which is 3/10 quicker than anyone else. But Odems, he starts alongside Beastaz. We know what happened in the last race, Alan, when he decided to sling it down the inside for a dive bomb, and then you've got the two Mercs which are left there scratching their head over half a second back from the 3 out of 3 winner.
Yes, definitely, but it looks to be it will end out, so we head to the formation lap, and definitely we'll go through the grid one more time if I was a little too fast for you. So yes, a very, very intense race about to be upon us. So again, onboard shot here looks to be Beastaz taking his third pole position of the season. He makes that hat trick in the first row alongside Beastaz will be Odom's. Second row will consist of MLA and Sean. The third row will be Sam and James. Fourth row will be Chris and Dan. The fifth row will be Hammer Time and Compact. Sixth row will be Dog and a Neck. The next row will be D90 and Jor. Looks to be Craig and Cobblers will share a row, and Tony and Clifford will be on the second to last row, and rounding out the field in, I think it's the 9th row, if I'm correct, the 10th row. He'll be the only one in it. It'll be Matt in the Force India, and that will finish that out. But going through the rest of the grid, it looks to be Jor is ghosting. I'm not sure if I think he's in the session. I think he just had to do something, but yeah, definitely we have all but one driver here today for the Russian Grand Prix. And again, if you want to check us out, our Twitter's at F1TSUB. Go check out our website. We have fantastic merchandise up. And again, a new month for us in F1TSUB, which means a lot of great racing again going to be right in front of your eyes. As again, for people watching in other countries, if you're wondering why for you it's either an hour later or earlier, it's because of daylight savings time. For me, daylight savings time has not happened yet. So for me, this race is actually at 5 o'clock. Usually it's 4. So that is, just a reason why. So that it should be changed for next week for me. I'm not sure about you, but that is the reason why if you were an hour late watching this. But looks to be the formation lap should be coming underway or finishing out very shortly now. And I am really, really excited for this Russian Grand Prix.
So am I, Alan, and just to note on tyres, a lot of people starting on the Ultrasofts, as we mentioned earlier. You've only got D90 who qualified on his Supers, Craig and Clifford's Red. You have to say had a disappointing session all the way down in 18th. They are the only 3 drivers to start on the Super Soft tyre, and as you mentioned, it is an easy one stop here, so we will be looking to see how that different strategy plays out for those 3 drivers, but I'm hugely excited. There's a kink here on the rundown to turn 1, which is unusual for the rundown, but definitely it provides the drivers with something to think about, and definitely they need to check their left and right mirror as the formation lap's over, and I'll hand it over to you, Alan, and you can lead these drivers away.
Yes, here we go for the 4th round of the 10th season of F1 TSUB, the Russian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go, and it looks like Beastaz gets off to a decent start alongside the Mercedes man. He'll have the inside, or actually no, the Haas. He'll go diving back down to the outside, now down the straight, going defensive as Beastaz. To the outside goes a Haas of Odoms, down into turn number 1. Remember what happened last week? He shoved him off, and now this time it looks like Beastaz repays a favor. Odoms now regains the lead. That is an unfair advantage. He'll have to get back the position. He does so. Looks to be a couple drivers shifting through positions, and now wheel to wheel for the race lead. Around the outside tries Odoms, but again Beastaz gives him just enough room to barely run wide. So now Beastaz hanging on to the lead, and around the outside again goes Odoms, but this time runs out of room, and this time Beastaz will put up a decent gap against the Haas driver. Mercedes are running 3rd and 4th of Sean and MLA. Back to 5th is Stam. 6th is going to be James, and man, that was a decent start for everyone. I'm not sure if there was a spin. Looking through the rest of the grid, I saw Toro Rosso run wide, but other than that, that was a very clean start.
Yeah, Odoms hit the wall there. He's dropped down to 3rd place. He hit it with 2 wheels against it, so I don't think it caused him too much damage, as he's now going to try and get back past. He's squeezed against the wall by one of the Mercedes. We should probably ride on board with this rather than Beastaz, and Odoms goes back down the inside to retake the position ahead of Sean, who inadvertently has got ahead of his teammate MLA. The biggest loser from that was, as we see Hammer Times out of this race, I believe. The biggest loser was James. Hammer Times binned it coming on the exit of the back straight, so perhaps he's lost the rear or he's had some contact. James Slater, meanwhile, in the Renault, is down 12 positions from his starting grid, so I'm not too sure what happened to him, but race is over and he's had enough. Beastaz is currently in 1st position. I'm not sure on my screen it's showing that James is in 1st. Virtual safety car, Alan.
Virtual safety car, yes, that's why they were slowing down. Just when time gave to Beastaz, when he was getting enough breathing space, looked to be they decided to throw out the VSC, which really doesn't matter, man. I mean, it doesn't pull them back together. It just gives them some time to take a couple of breaths, let them, okay, I know what I need to do. It'll give them time to plan or save fuel or save tires. It gives them a decent chance. It happens around like 50 seconds a minute around this circuit, or that's from my understanding. So again, something I did notice, just across the line, Beastaz was going very defensive with his slipstream. He was going all the way down to the inside of the wall. It looks like we're already racing again, and Beastaz gets a good start. And back in 2nd is Odoms. Remember, he just got by Sean for 2nd place. Looking back through the grid, it looks like the Sauber may try and go to the outside of the Renault. There's the yellow in Sector 2. I'm not sure why. I think that is Dog. If I'm correct. Yes,
Dog,
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, Alan, it was a pretty clean start. But that virtual safety car, it's just neutralized things for a little bit, but it won't affect the gaps. As we see a Haas driver of Cobbler's go down the inside of the Renault. That was a really late dive bomb, but he made that stick. I did see a little incident between Chris and Dan, but I think that was just a bit of lag, as we get a message from race control that says a 3-second time penalty for one of the Red Bull drivers. They need to bounce back from a disappointing few rounds, the Red Bull drivers of Jor and Enikert. And yeah, DRS is now open again, and let's see what some of these drivers can do, as my timing screen seems to be a little bit messed up, and it shows James Slater in the lead, which I don't think is the case.
I think it's just you, because for me it says, actually, it's a little screwed up. It looks like Compact gets another 30-second penalty. But yeah, it says Beastaz is losing position, like whenever you lose a position, it's like a little red. For me, it's red, but he's still in the race lead on the ticker on the left-hand side. So again, a little glitch there that can be fixed. But other than that, looks to be good. Going through the rest of the grid, it looks like there's about to be a battle to be brewing up between Odoms and Sean. Looks like Sean wants the better end of the stick and wants to get back in front of Odoms. So he's been pushing these last couple of laps just to get by. So lap number 3 now, taking in the onboard view with the Mercedes man. And looks like another 3-second penalty will be handed out, but this time it'll go to Sam. So down the straight, I ride on board with 3rd place man of Sean. Looks like he'll be going to the outside and take back a broadcast view. It'll be wheel to wheel. Looks like diving to the inside. Odoms, wow, again, dives it to the inside. He did it last time in Bahrain on lap 1. He definitely knows how to hold the inside when it involves sort of running people off the circuit a little bit, but that's just what Odoms needed to maintain that position. So again, a good battle between these two, and a lot to be done for Odoms to maintain 2nd place, and it looks like he does have his hands full, as it looks like Beastaz goes up the fastest lap time, a 1:37 flat, and looks to be down the straight. There could be another chance to take this position away. Sean against Odoms, it's not over yet.
No, this is some great racing. There's so many battles up and down the field that it's hard to pick one to choose. But you have to say these two side by side. Odoms again cuts the second corner, so he doesn't really want to take that first corner. That's 2 out of 4 for him. And Sean, does Sean get past, I believe? No, Sean doesn't get past. He's still sorry. Yeah, my apologies. I was running on board with the wrong guy. But yeah, Sean cuts turn 2 there. He didn't gain an advantage, so there's no harm done. But the Force India of Sam looks to be getting a little bit tasty behind this battle, and this is just making Beastas smile, because as Go Tony gets a time penalty, because he's just going to sail off, and this is exactly what he wants.
Yes, exactly. I was looking back. It looked like there's a little mistake from Odoms, and now Sean is able to capitalize down the straight for lap number 4. However, I think Dira should be enabled right about now. He's going to squeeze to the back down to the inside. So we'll grab the inside this time, but around the outside goes Odoms. He'll be able to hang it. So now they'll be wheel to wheel again as he exceeds the track limits on the curbing. And around the outside, can he maintain it? Goes off the track a little bit out of the inside, but no, there's a battle behind with the Force India. Man, and now the other Mercedes, man, looks to be MLA. He'll have the inside of Odoms, looks to be. He falls back to 4th now, maybe even 5th, that the Force India is able to do something about it. Coming across the line for lap number 5. And, wow, I mean, that was surprising. Looks like Tony has retired. Left front gone. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure how that happened. Maybe, I'm not even sure where that is on the circuit. But looks to be Beastas pulling away. Yeah, that's definitely something he wants to see. It looks like Beastas made a little bit of a mistake there. You can see in the background, there's a Toro Rosso. But looking back to the grid, looks to be Mercedes 2nd and 3rd. And I'm really excited about this, because now this is a chance for looks to be Mercedes to try and catch up in the constructors. I'm not sure if they have the lead or not. It's either Williams or Mercedes. It's all I know. Going down through the grid, it's usually Odoms up towards the front as well. Look back with Chris, a good day for him. Looking back with a couple other drivers. Nothing else really going on. But as I go through the grid, we only have 2 retirements. Is that a little surprising to you?
Yeah, these walls are pretty close to the track. Some people, obviously, they think this track is a one big massive car park, but they forget those concrete walls are so close. As yeah, Go Tony leaves the session. We've only got 2 drivers to DNF. Odom seems to be struggling a little bit here. The Ferrari and the Force India were all over the back of him. Do you think he just went a little bit too hard, too quick on those tires at the start of the race? I mean, I know he had to try something to stop Beastas getting into that lead in the first lap and just sailing away, but he was really aggressive, and perhaps he's taken a little bit too much out of those ultra soft tires.
Definitely. I mean, that's something I'm going to have to agree with there. Just when you push too much at the beginning, it's really just going to cost you at the very end. So I look at it, I mean, again, an easy 1 stop. So looks to be, yeah, Matt pitting. So we'll ride on board with it. Change detail. Hold on.
Got 4 drivers who have pitted now.
Yep, so the softs as well. So he must have pushed too hard on those tires, as well as they fix the front wing also. So it's either that or front wing changes. They want to make it to the end in this Grand Prix. Good chance that they can. They, in my opinion, they really could have just put on the super softs, and they could have been good from there. But they just want to take it safe and easy, and that's something I do respect and understand as a racing driver. I remember in league racing, just want to be safe. Like I would barely touch the curbs. I know it would, lose me some time, but I would be deathly afraid of getting penalties. I know there'd be a chance it could cost me in the end of this race. And speaking about that, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, lap 6, and it seems to be we have just amount of drivers with penalties as the amount of laps we've done today. Again, another question. Do you find that surprising? I mean, I know we are at Russia and track limits are very, very lenient here. Do you find that surprising at all?
No, I think that as we see Chris going down the inside of Odoms, that was a late move, and he gives Odoms a little squeeze off the track. So that was definitely tasty. The Force India wants a bite of that as well. That was some good racing from Chris, some good, hard, fair racing. Odoms just slipped further and further down the field from 2nd on the grid. But yeah, Alan is Russia, and I think penalties, isn't, we had I think 3 or 4 drivers, as Odoms now picks up a penalty himself, who didn't have a penalty in the podium tier. So well done to them. I think if you can keep your nose clean and keep those penalties and warnings to the very least, you're definitely going to move up our position when the final results get published. But this is good to see Chris back in the top 5, of course Season 7 champion, as I see a Renault in the wall there on my screen, on the exit of turn 2. But I couldn't tell you who it was or who's moving down the field. Maybe James Slater on my screen is moving down the field, but I thought he was already at the back anyway. Yellow flag in sector 3, and we've got Matt Compa. Oh, and Chris and Odems go wide, and Chris loses a bit of his front wing, so that got a little bit too heated, and I think there'll be some words exchanged over that one, because that was an unnecessary incident, and perhaps just a little bit of you didn't give me room, so I'm not going to give you any room. And now Sam wants to get this position, move up into 4th ahead of Odems, who's proving to be a little bit feisty today.
Yeah, so I want to talk back with Beastaz, because if you notice on the bottom of your screen, last lap, a 3-second penalty was handed to Beastaz on lap number 6. Or give me lap number 7. I have bad memory. But he was given a 3-second penalty, and I mean, yeah, it's Beastaz, and I mean, he's probably going to win this race anyway, but I mean, that's half of the gap he has with Sean right now, and now that Sean is in clean air, he's been really pushing away from MLA, and now Chris goes to the fastest lap. Looks to be, or no, not the fastest lap, my mistake, a 3-second penalty. Those 2 notifications, very similar. But again, that gap is maintaining around the 6.8, 6.7 area between Beastaz and Sean, so let's say Beastaz, gets 1 or 2 more penalties. I know Sean has been very, very clean about the stewards and the corner cutting, and if he continues that, it could benefit him. If he also does the pit strategy the right way, let's say Beastaz gets 1 or 2 more penalties, in the end, it could cost him. So again, it could cost him, like we said, 4 wins in a row, as now Dan goes for a 3-second penalty. I was about to say fastest stop, but I caught myself there. But lap number 8 now, and 20 laps to go, and clouds are still in the sky. I mean, there are a couple blue patches up there, but do you think we'll see any rain today?
I'm not too sure. This is the same similar weather setting to the podium tier at 7 PM, but we just caught Dan and Chris. I was not riding on board, but on a broadcast view, and I switched to on board, and Dan went down the inside of turn 3 after them both going side by side through turn 2, and it was fantastic racing from them both. They left each other just enough room. I've noticed that anyone who tries to defend turn 3 on the outside just doesn't seem to have the same amount of grip as the guy on the inside, so note to everyone there, if you're going to try and defend through the long left-hander of turn 3, make sure you do it on the inside and not the outside. We've still got some close battles going through the field, as Sam is looking to get past Odem. Chris is still on the back of Dan, but Chris comes into the pit lane, so Chris is into the pits. He wants off these ultra soft tires. We're right on board with him now, and we'll see if he gets any. I think he's got some wing damage actually, Alan, so they're not changing his wing, but he definitely has a few end plates missing there. He's gone on to the super soft tires, which to do that many laps on, it is achievable, but they're going to be running on the knife's edge when he gets to the last few laps. He exits the pit in 13th place, and yeah, he'll be looking to put in a long stint and see where he can get up to. But yeah, 7.3 now for Beastaz over Sean, and Sean is putting in some decent times, holding him steady. I wonder if they'll try something different with the strategy this time, Mercedes, to try and stop Beastaz walking away with this. But you have to say, Alan, Beastaz is looking pretty in good condition.
Yes, definitely. The condition he's in, he's already increasing the gap, but again, with these drivers, it's really you can't lose out on making a gamble, because Beastaz is already so far ahead in this championship. Again, a lot of drivers putting bets on him, and fans and spectators putting bets on Beastaz to win this championship. I wouldn't say that's a safe one, because you can leave mid-season knowing Beastaz. Something could happen with them, or something could break. But again, it looks like now Matt goes for a 3-second penalty, so due to multiple warnings. But again, yeah, definitely Beastaz does have the advantage. But again, if I were any other driver, let's say outside of the top 5, I would definitely go for a gamble, because I mean, let's say if the gamble doesn't pay off, oh well, you're gonna lose like around what, 8 points, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1, around those points. not much. I mean, considering that you were going for something that could have gotten you, let's say, 15 or 18 or 25 points, something like that. And again, it's more significant. I mean, it's not that much points you'd be losing compared to the amount that you'd be getting. So again, a gamble would definitely pay off to some of these drivers. Again, it's really a situation where for these drivers, again, we keep on saying, B-Stars are so far in the championship, it's really just go for it. As now it looks like Cobbler's a 3-second penalty also. But yeah, I mean, something I am also looking at, again, the onboard views looking to be very clean, meaning that there's no rain. Again, look at that, and again, I'm looking at one driver, he's ghosting, if I'm correct. It looks to be Dog. I'm not sure if he's still in the session.
I think he left the session, so I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it back or not. But Craig is all over the back of Joel, so he's going to get DRS down as they come into the final corner before the back straight. DRS detection point, of course, 1 of 2 at this track in Sochi, and he's going to get that rear wing open, and it'll be interesting to see whether him on his super soft tyres are having a slight advantage over Joel, who of course is on the ultra soft tyre, and you have to say would definitely be more worn. It'll be interesting to see whether Craig wants to sling something down the inside of one of these corners, or whether he just wants to wait for the right opportunity, or for these guys to come into the pits, as in fact that's exactly what Joel does. So he must have read my mind, as Sam also pits as well as Joel in the Force India. He's taken on a set of super soft tyres, so perhaps he's just covering off Chris, who we're riding on board with now. He's about to exit the final corner, so these two are going to come out near each other, I suspect. Sam's exiting his pit lane now, and Chris is up to full speed. Sam isn't yet. This is going to be a little battle down into turn 1. I think Sam's going to keep the position though. Of course Chris has the momentum, but Sam's got fresher tyres.
Good battle right there, definitely, as again, around that part of the track, not so easy to maintain any position, but again, looking back through the grid, let's see. Two cars really close to each other, Inept and D90. If I am correct, we're going to look at any stops they've done. It looks like neither of them have pitted despite being on separate compounds. Looking for the grid order change as well, I would like to point out, even though I know we're in the middle of the pit stop phase, Cobbler's gained 9 positions out of the most out of everyone today, and the least is obviously Hammer Time, losing 10 positions and retiring on lap 1 in this Russian Grand Prix. So again, something to point out there. Again, some really impressive stats with these drivers, and again, something that impresses me as well. Look back to the detail. Looks to be a 3-second penalty for Enek as well. Remember, he's defending from the Ferrari man, so he will decide to come into the pits this time by as well. Looks to be Cobblers, James, Dan, and Odoms are all in the pits as well. Most likely they should be going onto the super soft tires. Let's see what they'll put on. Looks like Odoms is into the pits, put on the Redwall tires. Looks like the Sauber will put on these super softs as well. And it looks to be a couple, it looks like everyone else does. So again, the preferred strategy is one I recommended before the race started. So again, it looks to be everyone has the same thing in mind.
Yeah, just seeing Chris battling with Sam, and on that lap, Chris got another penalty. I know that's his second one because he's already had one. So he needs to be careful because that'll cost him later in the race. James Slater has just come out of the pits with Cobbler and the Red Bull, as you mentioned. So we're still waiting for the top 3 to pit as Clifford retires from the race. What's happened to him? And could this be a potential safety car? He's just seems to be pulling off the track. There doesn't seem to be any damage on his car, maybe a bit of end plate off of his front wing. But he is out of this race, and he won't be taking any further action. Bisas, what's he going to do? He comes to the inside. He is coming into the pits, so he's going to be the first one to blink on these first 3. Just gets his car closed down in time. Sean doesn't pit. Dan's retired from the session. That's a DNF. And wow, that's a big accident. That is just before the back straight, I believe. So he's lost it, and he's damaged and lost a wheel. So Dan is out of this race, and that is both Salbers, who won't be scoring any points. Surely this should be a safety car, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, he's facing the wrong way. Just, for God's sakes, bring something out. He's facing the wrong way again. There could again, if there's a glitch that doesn't allow you to go through them, that can be very bad. So knowing that Dog left the session, Dan retired, we have 14 runners left in this Grand Prix, technically 15. But Dog left the session, so we're down to 14. Jor is right now battling Compact for the second to last position, in my opinion. But again, Dan, that was a terrible, terrible crash. A little press release from Dan, another mistake from him. That will definitely not help him in the championship. Again, something he needed, but I'm going to point out MLA, Sean, 2 seconds with each other. Beast did pit, but on the super soft tires, I'm not sure if we covered that. 3-second penalty to Sean. I did him a couple of laps ago. I said he was very clean in this race, and he's putting off a good gap, and finally gets his first 3-second penalty of this race. So, looking back at MLA, Mercedes, just like real life, are running 1 and 2 in this Grand Prix, 13 out of 27. We are headed to the halfway mark in this Grand Prix just this lap. But very disappointed is Dan after another retirement this season, and yeah, definitely this season. But I look back with VSAZ, it's a 13-second gap between him and MLA. I had 2 seconds of that gap between VSAZ and Sean. But looks like to be Sean is going to dive into the pits. That means MLA is going to have to stay out, and he'll acquire the race lead, coming to lap number 14 out of 27.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Mercedes drivers, they've done the same thing as Bahrain, Alan, where they haven't gone for the undercut, and we know how powerful that can be, as it was in Bahrain for BSAS. So what they're trying to do, I'm not exactly too sure, but BSAS is just going to gain massively, and you'd have to say an extra lap on these tyres around a track like Russia, it won't really affect his tyre wear too much. So that'll be an interesting one to see what the Mercedes can do, or whether they're just happy to pick up the points for the Constructors title. Sean's coming out in 4th position, just ahead of Craig, who is in 6th, so he's yet to pit. We run through the drivers actually who haven't stopped. We can see that MLA, D90, Craig are the only drivers yet to make a pit stop. So they'll be looking to do that within the next few laps, and I wonder what is going on in this Mercedes garage, because they need to do something here, Alan, to try and give that fight back to BSAS.
Toto Wolff must be furious. I mean, they pitted maybe a couple laps late. I mean, it's fine. I mean, between the two, I mean, at least they're not pitting on the same lap. But I mean, that gap has definitely diminished. It was around 12, 13 seconds between MLA and BSAS. Now it's going out to almost 11 flat, and that is a little concerning for not only Toto Wolff, but also MLA, who looks like to be heading into the pits this time by, most likely from the Ultra Softs to the Super Softs, but we will see. And the pits he goes, and now it's down to 10 seconds, and most likely BSAS will get by. 10 seconds further off the pace of BSAS is Sean, and 2 seconds behind, or a half second actually, is D90, then 2.5 is off of Craig and Sam, but fastest lap for BSAS, so definitely he's going to acquire the race lead. And looks like to be MLA exiting the pits. Sean will be about to pass him down the straight. Looks to be that undercut will prevail for Sean. Looks like there's a pit stop for someone else though. I thought there was a car right behind Sean. And yeah, it's D90, but the gap is really increased. I'm not sure if D90 made a mistake or not. Well, it looks to be, wow, hold on a second. MLA joining through traffic. He joins with Sam and Craig, and around the outside, off their retirement, that is Chris. And it looks like he'll have to give back the position due to the yellow being in the sector. So for the meantime, MLA gets back 4th place, and Chris lost his right front tire in what looks to be off the exit of turn 1.
It was with a Haas driver who's involved in the incident, because I saw the Haas driver spinning back round as we got a safety car, Alan. So we have a safety car for the first time in the Pinnacle tier at 9 PM. Who's going to dive into the pits and take advantage of this? Chris has had an incident with Odems. I'm sure it was Odems who he had that incident with. And of course they tangled earlier in the race. So perhaps that was just something that carried on to later on. But this has given us something to think about, because BSAS is leading this race. He did go for the undercut, and now the Mercedes drivers will be smiling because they'll be on fresher tyres, but they are on the same tyre, so there won't be too much of an advantage. Only 1 lap for Sean and 2 lap advantage for MLA, of course. D90 is going to box under this safety car, having started on those super soft tyres. And you'd have to say it's gonna not make him lose as much time as it would boxing under normal racing conditions. He comes into the pits really slowly to get his delta time to what it should be. MLA is going to take that position. I'm not sure what position James Slater is showing on your screen, Alan, but he's just being pushed out the way on my screen by other cars. And yeah, D90 and Craig come into the pit. So does Odem, so presumably he's got damage. Yeah, he's got no front wing. So Odems and Chris were involved in that scrap, and Chris is out the race. The Season 7 champion is having a horrid season. I'm not sure what happened there because I just caught the end of it when Chris was in the wall. But they definitely need to give each other a little bit more room, because if you're being involved in that many incidents, you need to rethink your strategy, whether it's your fault or someone else's. But Alan, we're going to be backed up and we're going to be stacked up behind this safety car.
I'm not sure what B-Styles was thinking. I think he could have been the only driver that could have benefited from this, knowing that the Ultrasofts could go till 14 laps at least. We know they could have possibly gone the whole entire race, but what I would have done, we have 13 laps to go. Most likely we'll be resuming to racing with 9 to 10 laps, and you can save those Ultrasoft tires. If I was B-Styles, you have, what, an 11-second gap. I would have pitted, put on the Ultrasofts, rejoin second or third, not only go for fastest lap, but win the race. But I think I mean, that's what I thought everyone else would have done behind him. But it looks to be everyone is taking it safe under safety car. But I think most likely Beast has definitely still would have had the lead on a new set of Ultrasoft tires. That's what, again, I would have done. But, again, I'm a little skeptical from him.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if that would have been, you know, the best thing. If he would have come out behind both Mercedes, he would have been on a quicker tire. But that wouldn't have been something that he perhaps wanted to get himself involved in when he knows he's got the pace as he gets really close to this safety car. But definitely, as he looks to, is he coming into the pits? No, he's just staying to the inside. But maybe he was trying to make one of the Mercedes think he was going to pit. But maybe the Mercedes, Alan, should have done that, one of them, to split themselves, because they both can't attack BSAS at the same time. And Sam's looking pretty in 4th position. He's done a really good job today and bounced back from a few disappointing results the last couple times out. But D90 is in currently 7th position, and Craig is in 10th. Odems is in 11th. They all pitted under this safety car when it came out. And yeah, this is fantastic. Can you just confirm to me, Alan, what position is James Slater in on your screen?
I'm not sure why you're having a big obsession with James right now, but he's in 5th place. Is that some sort of glitch you're having?
Yeah, for the most of my race he was in the lead, and every time he crossed the line it said he dropped down. I know at the start he had contact and he lost a few positions. Now he's dropping down to 10th on my screen, so I don't know if that's correct or not. But yeah, I had cars hitting him and everything on my view when they were going past him. But we'll let that one sort itself out. And what are you most excited for when this race gets back underway?
The racing, for sure. I think that's what everyone's interested in. That's why they're here today. Like, whoa, checking up his B-stats there. But again, I'm really excited for this restart. Most likely it'll be either 9 to 10 laps to go, most likely. But again, it's really, really good that everyone is bunched back up together. We can see another set of racing going on. It gives everyone a new era or opportunity to work with in this half stage of the race. So if I was B-Saz, just keep doing what you're doing, because it's obviously gotten you a good lead against everyone else. Now he gets to prove it again on why he's the one this season, or he's the one to beat this season. He's going to prove it here as the safety car goes, and we'll be coming back to green this time by with 10 laps to go. So the safety car will be coming in. Let's go through the grid order very, very quickly. First is B-Saz, second is Sean, third is MLA, fourth is Sam, fifth is James, sixth is Cobbler, seventh is Enact, eighth is D90, ninth is George, 10th is Craig, 11th is Otis, 12th is Matt. Actually, hold on a second. Switching positions. One of them is there. Matt is 12th, 13th compact, and round up the top 14 is going to be Dog, who is disconnected session. So 13 drivers left in this thing. Started with 19. Will we see any more retirements today?
As Beataz is about to get us underway, he makes the break. The Mercedes of Sean follows him quite closely. MLA is a bit behind. I know Beataz won't want to do too much racing today. He wants that 10-second lead back that the safety car wiped out. No DRS, of course, until we have completed 2 racing laps. after the safety car. What can Sean do without it? Can he do something? Can he muster up a little bit of Mercedes magic as Compact retires from the race? We're not too sure what happened to him. Perhaps he's lost a car or lost a wheel or something. But Bisas already getting a half a second gap before he gets to the end of Sector 1. I'm not seeing too many position changes, so perhaps they've all kind of followed each other across the start-finish line. D90 is one to watch on those ultra-soft tyres as we see someone getting a tank slapper. I believe Cobbler's in the Haas. You've got a Ferrari, which is definitely looking a little bit racy on those ultra-soft tyres. Compact's left the session, so that's him down and out. And Sean gets another penalty for multiple cutting. So we know he's had one, and that's his second one. Do you think possibly team orders could come into play here, and he could say, look, hey, I've got 2 penalties. MLA, you don't have any. You go for this?
I mean, there's a chance about that. Depends if they're in the same party, however, because they could be in different channels, and next thing you know, they don't know who has who. And, I mean, yeah, MLA does have no penalties, but you have to keep in mind Sean is faster, so maybe they're just using him there to catch up to B-Saz, pass him, and then move team orders after they pass B-Saz. But I was looking back with Joy, missing a big part of his front wing. He must have slapped the wall there on the safety car restart. But leading the way so far, B-Saz with the fastest lap time, and with those sub tires, so he definitely preserved him just enough to be fastest there. The gap is already second between him and Sean. So now again, yeah, if I was MLA, if I knew Sean had a penalty and me on the same party, I would have definitely done something right now. And that would be if he wasn't getting on B-Saz. But again, it looks like B-Saz pulling away, so if I was a Team Mercedes drivers, I'd be desperate to do anything to try and get up towards the race lead. Looks like D90 will get a 3-second time penalty. So we have 9 laps to go, and B-Saz pulling away to what it seems to be his 4th win in a row this season. This man is unstoppable. I'm looking back to the grid, it looks like Jor dropping off very quickly with his broken right front end plate. And now he's about to get passed by the driver in last place, I believe, yeah. And B-Saz has another 3-second time penalty.
Wow.
So now it looks like B-Saz and Sean. I think there's 3 more for Sean, or the equal on penalties. This is very good for MLA. Now, if I knew about this, I definitely would have let by MLA by now, because he is the only one I feel like who can challenge B-Saz for the win right now.
Yeah, definitely when you take the penalties into consideration, Sean and B-Saz are now. It's D90 and the Red Bull of Eniket battling quite hard. And then you got Odems, who's carrying a train of 4 with him. When I say carrying, he isn't doing the one carrying, he's doing the one overtaking, and now at the front of that train. Don't forget, he pitted under that safety car. He's on ultra soft tires as he runs a Red Bull, runs a Ferrari out of road. I'm not sure, I just caught the end of that incident, but D90 has got wing damage. He spun there. So Odense has been involved in another incident, and I'm sure he's going to be spending plenty of time in the steward's office after today's race. But back on board with Odems, he's going to try and 5-second stop and go penalty for D90 to compromise his race just a little bit further. That was going from a battle for 7th all the way down to what is going to be a miserable end to his race. Shout out to Cobblers, who's returned from not being very well last week. He's in 6th place, leading the Haas team at the moment as Odems tries to fight back. Craig's in 7th. As I say, that drops down to 8. Odems went super wide and almost hit the wall there. He looks on the ragged edge, and I think he needs to just relax just a little bit. What is MLA going to do at the moment? If MLA can stay within 6 seconds of B-Saz, he's going to win this race. We haven't seen MLA get a penalty, so he needs to stay within 6 seconds. He's got 7 laps to do that. What an amazing few laps this has been, as we ride on board now with Craig, who's under attack from Odems. Odems is going to get DRS down the back straight. He needs to keep this one clean. He doesn't want to upset too many drivers before we head to Spain next week. Odems thinks better of this one, gets a nice good exit, and he's going to try and do maybe a little bit of a switchback on Craig, but I think Craig pitted under safety car. She's going to go down the inside, slings it down, goes deep. Craig comes back on him around the outside. Odems squeezes him off the road, then realizes he's there and gives him a little bit of room, and Odems takes that position. Alan, some good racing from Odems there, but also we've seen him involved in a few incidents this race. What do you think his fellow drivers will make of that?
I mean, the incident, again, he doesn't mean to do it, but at the same time, if it continues to happen every week, there's obviously going to be a problem. So again, 6 laps to go. I mean, there's a reason why he's doing that. I mean, points are on the line. It's really the last shot he has at getting more possible points. And I don't blame him, but at the same time, again, mistakes in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, I'm happy it's not the first, 4 laps of this Grand Prix, but last couple 6 laps of this race, I sort of expect that from drivers, but again, if it happens every week, then yeah, I'd definitely be disappointed in them. But we have 6 laps to go. A couple laps ago, Beast has got another 3-second time penalty. So again, this gives you advantage to MLA, who I believe does not have any penalties. If I'll clarify that actually right now. If I go to the race director, go through the incidents. Again, it doesn't say who has who. It just gives me what gets what during the race. But I don't think MLA has a penalty, if I'm correct.
No, I haven't seen one pop up, Alan. The new race control feature in the bottom left-hand side, I know it keeps catching you out thinking there's a fastest lap, but it's definitely informative for us as commentators. And MLA is in 2nd position now, so MLA is going to chase down Bisas. He's been given the go-ahead from his teammate, as we see Matt now get a penalty. What can MLA do from here? He's got 6 laps to try and keep that gap within 6 seconds if he can. He knows he's won this race. The 2 Mercedes drivers, of course, pitted after MLA being the last one to pit out of the front 3, so they're going to have fresher tyres. They need to keep this together, as we see Sean having a bit of a moment there and then getting another time penalty, so he's up to 3 now. What can these drivers do? Sam is a few seconds behind Sean. Can he benefit from that? Odems is moving up. We see a Red Bull off track and rejoining. And then we see a McLaren and a Red Bull going side by side round turn 3. Red Bull's got the inside line. We know there's more grip. And the McLaren has to back out as we touch slightly on the exit of what I believe is turn 4. This is some great racing again from these guys. I'm really impressed with Craig since his debut last week. These final point scoring positions aren't going to be given up easy. And yeah, a shout out to everyone watching. We've got quite a few drivers who are tuning in to tonight's race. And we have 5 laps to go once we complete this one. Do you think MLA can keep that gap within 6 seconds, Alan?
I believe he can, but it's going to be very, very close, because I think now Bisas realizes, as looks like Joel goes for a penalty there, 3 seconds for race control, from race control. It looks to be almost 4 seconds, but yeah, I looked through, he has 2 warnings, so 1 warning, 1 more warning added up, and he's done, basically, unless Bisas makes an utter mistake out of himself. But yes, he comes across his line with 23 out of 27. This safety car was not something that Bisas wanted to see, because he knew he had time penalties. He has a pace, but he's not sure if he could have done it. D90, again, another 3-second penalty handed to him. Gap is now 4 seconds, and the gap he needs to not go over, it's already 4.1. If he goes 1.9 or more over from 4.1 right now, he's donezo right now to win this Grand Prix. But a couple laps left to go, and MLA, that gap is increasing very, very slowly, but it is going to be a matter of time if Bisas will be able to push towards victory, or MLA can hang on. Either 2 of those drivers have a shot of winning today. We have around, if I'm correct, 4 laps to go, if I'm correct?
Yeah, we are on lap 23 out of 27. And Alan, another thing to consider as the Red Bull driver Aniket gets a time penalty. They're all flooding in now, these time penalties. And how will that affect the results after this race finishes? We'll have to wait and find out. But the closest battle on track is D90 trying to get past Jaw in the Red Bull. It's not for a point scoring position, but they're definitely going to want to have some fun after a disappointing race for both of them. It'll be interesting to see. Of course, Bisas, if he's figured out what is about to happen, he's going to be pushing himself. So I wonder if he's got any further warnings on top of his 2 penalties, and will he be pushing a little bit too much and maybe get a 3rd one? Of course, MLA has got the same situation. He could be pushing and get his 1st penalty, but I'm excited to find out. It's 4.8 now, as we are on lap 24 or 27, as I mentioned, and this one we're just going to have to ride out.
Yes, we have a couple laps to go, and Bisas now, it is 5 seconds, so it looks like every lap He is pushing up the margin against MLA. Again, if a mistake happens, that'll really give him a chance back to have a chance at winning this thing. But now it's already up to 5.2, so now he needs to maintain 8/10 within these next 3 laps of this Grand Prix. Things are going to go, or next 4 laps. 25, 27 is 3, so next 4 laps of this Grand Prix. So
MLA's got company as well, Alan.
Yep,
His teammate.
From his teammate. Yes, I hope Sean does realize that if he passes his teammate, he essentially ruins a chance of basically Mercedes winning a race this season. Or not, well, yeah, basically this season, but this race as well. But it's already almost up to 6 seconds. It's going to be very close this lap by. But Beastaz is really on the pressure again. He was running out of time in qualifying, barely came on through with the fastest lap for pole. And now, barely with just enough time, it looks like he could snatch victory away from MLA as well. I think that's something he does well at. He looks to be becoming clutch this season. Not sure if you'd agree with that, but it's definitely something to have some facts along and agree with. But we do come to the final 3 laps of this Grand Prix. And right now, it's already more than 6 seconds. So really, I think I would say Mercedes have at it. I mean, MLA does have no penalties compared to Sean, who has a couple. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but then again, I'd look at the fact that both of them do not have a shot of winning today now, unless a mistake happens with B-Sass. So really, I'd just say have at it, or just maintain the position you're in, because Mercedes could do well in Constructors today and finish 2nd and 3rd. It's up to them on how they want to handle this situation.
Yeah, if just going to say quickly, Alan, if Sean had let MLA through, then perhaps there was a condition that, you know, if you don't stay within that 6 seconds, we switch back. But how close Sean isn't going to be comfortable for MLA. It isn't going to be a situation where MLA can drive at his best. And Sean keeps having a look into the braking zones as he gets another penalty. So I think even if he does pass MLA now, he'll get that position. But I can't really see the interval on my screen because on the left-hand side, yet again, that Renault of James Slater is apparently in 2nd place.
Looks like that glitch really needs to get fixed, but yeah, James is still in 5th place. So we've got the lower fielder guys. I'm looking back again. Mercedes man really just maintaining the gap, and MLA and Sean getting really close every single lap. Looks like the rest of the grid looks to be between James and, if I'm correct, yeah, James and Cobbler, is it? Cobbler? No, yeah, Cobbler and James. Really close to each other as George goes for another 3-second penalty. And we head to the final 2 laps of this Grand Prix. So again, I ride on board with the Haas driver down the straight. Inched up very closely within the last couple of laps to James. Will he be able to pull off a maneuver or a pass on him within these last 2 laps? There's a chance that could happen. Not likely, but we head to the final 2 laps of this Grand Prix. A fantastic exit for him. And now he's going to try and chase James down. Again, looking with the 2 Mercedes men of MLA and Sean. I think they just want to maintain positions. They don't want to battle with each other. They just don't want to ruin each other's races. I think they're fine with 2nd and 3rd, and I think they're going to leave it to that till the possibly final sector when really they're very in a safe spot. But again, looking back with James and Cobbler's, these 2 are really close to each other. It looks like a terrible exit for the Haas driver. I was going to say, if he could reel him in down the straight, that'd be a perfect timing to pass him, but misses both exits and is really falling off the pace now compared to James. But we head through the straight now. DRS should be enabled, is it? Yes, it is. The flap goes. Beast has a 3-second penalty. This changes everything.
Yeah, he's going to need a 9-second, Alan.
Oh, man, I mean, and now I think they're really saying, Sean, do not pass MLA, do not pass MLA. We head to the final lap in this Russian Grand Prix. 1 lap to go. Something incredible needs to happen with Beastaz. Or maybe something incredible for a penalty to happen to the Mercedes man of MLA. Final lap we have in store. 3-second penalty Matt. I was going to say I saw the M. I got scared for a second. But again, he can literally coast around this circuit. And I think he'd have just enough as he misses the apex there. And now it looks like Sean is going to go to the inside. What is he doing? I don't think he knows that his teammate can win this race. I think he just let him by. He let him by, so now it's 7 seconds. as, I mean, he has up to 9 seconds if he wants to use it. And actually, he's reeled in just beneath the 7-second mark as well, as it looks like his teammate is losing the back end massively. And again, this could help him down the straight. I mean, he is in some dirty air, but down the straight, could gain a lot of slipstream and a lot of speed. So, again, if I were them, use it to their advantage. Should be very, very cautious of the stuff you wish or ask for. But down the straight for the final time, 7 seconds, is all it's going to need for MLA to win this race back in third. And remember, if Sean gets too far ahead, there is a chance he could win as well. Let's say he got around like 4 seconds ahead. That's very unlikely, but BSAS will be coming to the final sector now, and I can't believe I'm not saying this. BSAS will not win today as we go to the final couple corners. Left.
He's low on fuel, Alan.
Low on fuel. Should be just enough as we approach the final 2 corners of this race for BSAS. Final corner, BSAS will cross the line in first, but for not much longer, because MLA is expected to put off a good gap between him and BSAS across the line, and MLA wins the Russian Grand Prix by 4.2 seconds. And he is going to be a first-time winner this season, and it looks like the hat trick ends at the 4th round for BSAS, and it looks to be he's got to start all over again, doing consecutive wins, and that was a good race in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race, and these guys are all crossing the line. They're so bunched up because of the safety car. I'm just clicking through them just before they cross the line so that we can ride on board with them. Alan, I'm afraid we're going to have to wait to get you to say back to back to back to back to back to back. But MLA steals that win, and we couldn't have written that any better. That was a script and a half. A final penalty on the penultimate lap. Sean gets past his teammate. I'd like to know if they knew exactly what was going on, because in our race seats it was pretty exciting. And MLA wins this race. He is the first driver in the Pinnacle tier to win a race this season, and he breaks BSAS's streak.
A very good record to beat, definitely. But yeah, that finishes out the Russian Grand Prix. It was, again, something I really enjoyed commentating today alongside you, Nick. Looks to be Mercedes finally get the first one. This is huge for the team, because not only has BSAS been carrying Williams, but the fact that Mercedes has been so consistent with all these podiums. MLA and Sean have been working together, and now it finally pays off. The first win for Mercedes. The man on top today is MLA, taking his first victory of the season. So, second again will be BSAS, third will be Sean. Gap between them was very close, and both looks to be Sean and BSAS. 12-second penalty. Wow, 12 seconds, if I'm saying that correctly. That's 12 seconds. 12 is the same amount that I expected BSAS to have how many wins this season, to be completely honest. But that finishes out the Russian Grand Prix. And any last-minute words you can say now, but that was a fantastic race. I'd say driver of the day, I'm going to have to give to Cobblers. I mean, either Cobblers or MLA. I mean, look at Cobblers gained 9 positions. He started 16th, finishes in 7th today, but I look through the rest of the grid. MLA did a fantastic job holding off his teammate and barely getting ahead of BSAS. Could be either one of them, in my opinion. But, yeah, and that rounds out the Russian Grand Prix. Any last-minute thoughts?
No, other than huge congratulations to MLA. He's obviously been working really hard at trying to do that, and that safety car helped those two Mercedes. We were wondering what they were doing. Obviously they didn't know that safety car was about to happen, but you'd have to say it surely paid off, and they've ended BSAS' streak. I don't know the last time BSAS hasn't won. I know he's been doing well in other leagues as well, but you can't take anything away from MLA, who did an awesome drive. And also, of course, BSAS as well in second. We can't take anything away from what he managed to do in qualifying. And MLA's teammate, Sean, who also put up a good scrap today. Cobblers, as you said, did a fantastic job in the Haas. He was ill last week, and he's come back and showed us exactly why he's in this tier. He's beaten his teammate, Odems, who had a scrappy race. It'd be interesting to hear what he has to say after this one. But, Alan, that's got to be one of my most enjoyable races to watch. Not a lot of contact, and it was some great racing. The safety car spiced it up, and I'm looking forward to next week.
Yes, I believe next week should be the Spanish Grand Prix. Same time, same place, same channel, and I think that should finish it up. So I'll do the outro and that'll be it. So thank you everybody so much for watching again. Follow us at Twitter. It is at F1TSUB. We have a website. I forgot the URL.
.com, f1tshub.com.